To you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America. I don't know. How are we going to say where we're at, Blake? I try to think of somewhere unique. This south of Canada, north of Mexico. We know that.
I can say I'm pretty much a Tennessean now, so
a Tennessean is 10 of believing, as they say, and I am here in Kentucky, where I actually have a couple of state representatives that, you know, occasionally get a few things right. That is such a breath of fresh air compared to living in California for a decade and a half. So it is pretty nice. But my name's Brian Engelman.
And I'm Blake Walley.
Today is Tuesday, August the 1st. This is the first of two, count them, two supermoons in the month. Two supermoon month, Blake. So are you going to have a bonfire? Are you going to charge your crystals? Are you going to do anything special tonight? Drink some mead?
Well, that's a good idea. I still got my crystals all packed up. I should throw them out on the deck or something. Let them soak in that moonlight. Maybe bring me good luck. I don't know.
Hey, man. You know, I mean, what do they say? Smoke them if you got them. Charge them if you got them. How about that? Is that fair? Charge them if you got them.
Yeah, I like that. Charge them if you got them.
Yeah, so tonight's a super moon. That means the moon is close to the earth and other technical things, but it's just called a super moon, so trust me on it. Go out and enjoy it. Participate in that process. Okay, so on today's show, like I said, Tuesday, August 1st, 2023, we're going to cover the following stories. Do you agree or disagree that Devon Archer's devastating testimony has broken the dam on the Bidens? Is that a dental dam? That's gross and weird. But then again, all that Ashley Biden and Hunter Biden and the dogs biting people and Joe sniffing people. Everything gross about that family. They are the worst of the worst. They're in the top 1%. Yep.
Even their dogs are biting people. 2 dogs now.
Yes. But I put out a tweet today, Blake, and you know, for some reason, the New American Media gets very little Twitter love. So I don't spend too much time, you know, yelling down the memory hole. You know, I'm spending more time and putting more stuff out there, and we've lost 21 followers this month. It's like, okay, well, this is a pointless little social media site. I don't love it. I don't care for it at all. But I did put something out interesting. And I will get to the rest of the stories, but I will just tease this. What's my top tweet? Where's my profile? Sorry, let me see this here. Where the hell is it? But I asked a question. There we go. Here's the profile. I asked the question last night and woke up to quite a bit of people replying saying, oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. Okay, here we go. Scrolling down. I know this is beautiful radio, right? Beautiful.
Where I'm all planned. We were up at 7 a.m. with our our segment producers planning everything out. And then Brian just stumbles into it again. Way to go, Brian.
You know what? Okay, here we go. What about this? Was it this one? No, I think I rephrased it, but either Ashley and Hunter are as stupid and reckless as their father, who clearly abused both of them, or they hate him for abusing them, and this was them sabotaging his greatest moment as payback, Blake. But this was in response to this one. I said, okay, so Ashley Biden leaves her diary behind that implicates Joe's inappropriate showers with her. Hunter leaves behind the laptop from hell that implicates drug use, prostitutes, and various shady, air quote, business dealings. Could they be trying to destroy their abusive father? So that was the question. Is it intentional? And it got a lot of people thinking. And so I think we've touched a nerve there. Something seems very off. Everything's off about these Bidens.
Yeah.
Everything is off about them. But anyway, we're going to discuss Devon Archer's devastating testimony. Also, agree or disagree. Rand Paul, should he pull back his criminal referral against Fauci? Are the COVID jabs for depopulation? What, Blake? Who in the world? That sounds like misinformation to me. Disinformation. I don't know. Who would agree or disagree with that? That the elites could be engineering the end of us? Well, it sure is matching up with what Greta is saying and what they've been pushing for a long time. So we'll see. You know, even the schools are in on it. Everything's a climate crisis. It's just so apocalyptic and ridiculous. But we'll discuss. Also, we shouldn't have a problem with Chicago hiring non-U.S. citizens as law enforcement, right? Elon Musk, has he been exposed? Is he just a Judas goat? Judas goat? You wrote that. I want to hear what you mean by Judas goat. Is he just a Judas goat for the globalists? Also, Gonzalo Lira. That reminds me of like a Muppet character. What's that?
Gonzo the Great?
Yeah, Gonzalo Lira deserves to be detained before seeking asylum. I don't know. I thought there's no borders anymore, man. We'll talk about it. And Wee Herman, was he one of the most beloved characters ever? We'll discuss all of these and more on today's program. So without further ado, I think we will jump right into things and want to just reference, Blake, where do people follow you for more information in between our live shows?
Well, I guess TV's Blake Walley on Twitter would be number one. And the archive I usually have on my website at thenextlevelnews.com. So if anything gets cut off or the YouTube strikes the channel or something, we'll have a backup to Next Level News. There's other ways of finding us, but you can always find it at the website. So hopefully they can't mess with that.
Yeah, so on our side, go to Twitter and type in @American_media_. That's where we are. On Truth Social, The New American Media. On Rumble, The New American Media. On Spotify, that's Spotify, if you're listening. That is, do you remember that? What is it? Never mind. It's a little too vulgar. It's a Snoop Dogg reference. Thing. Yeah, I know. It's a Snoop Dogg thing.
All right.
It's double your balls. Anyway, on Spotify, just search for the Agree to Disagree show. Yes, the Doggy Style album, man. Everybody, I got the Doggy Style album, got Tool Undertow, like 1994. Like you sign up for like a compact disc club, and you get like 20 choices, and I'm like, oh, I get the coolest stuff. I got such a great banging collection from that. But anyway, on Spotify, search the Agree to Disagree show. We got to get it up on Apple, though. I don't know how to do that. So in the works, it's on my list. Check us out on YouTube. That's probably the most comprehensive place for us. YouTube.com/The New American Media. On Instagram, The New American Media. Facebook, it's a private group titled, you got to type this exactly, parentheses, TNAM, TNAM''S, TNAM's, The Agree to Disagree show, parentheses. In a private group, ask to join. How did you hear about us? Brian told me to join this private group, and we'll let you in. That's where, like, daily, it's the best user interface. It's so easy to Twitter's so weird, Blake. You share a story and then you put it up on your profile and it just populates a blank screen. It doesn't give you a screenshot. It doesn't give you a title of what you shared. I'm like, Twitter blows. You can't share anything. It's so, I don't like it. It's nowhere near as good as the functionality of the Facebook groups, although Zuckerberg can all of the ills of imaginable in the mind could befall him, and I would not blink. I would not miss a wink of sleep. That guy is such a censoring jerk that has really tried to keep his boot on the neck of the New American Media. But we will rise. We will thrive. We will do it without him. I don't give a damn about him. So those are all the places that you follow Blake and I, as well as thenewamericanmedia.com, which will be getting a facelift very soon and a new intro graphic coming as well. So, all right, without further delay, let's jump into the topics. All right now, Blake, agree or disagree? Devon Archer's devastating testimony has broken the dam on the Bidens.
I'm going to agree. I think that's pretty substantial that one of their former business partners is now speaking out against it, and they tried to suppress him, tried to keep him in jail over it. And now the testimony has come out, and that is going to be problematic. I don't know how you're going to put the genie back in the bottle. I mean, certainly there's a lot of stuff going on with this terrible administration. And as you just mentioned with the kids, I don't know if they sabotaged him or not. I don't even know where Ashley is or what her role is these days. But
did you see the big story yesterday? Did you see the big story yesterday? I put it all over Twitter. Project Veritas finally released the tapes of Ashley Biden confirming that is her that's her diary, that's her bag, it all went out yesterday.
Oh wow, okay, I did not know that, because I know that they got a hold of the diary and they hadn't even sent it out yet. But then the deep state went and cracked down and went after James O'Keefe, did a home invasion, as well as some of his other journalists. So they took that very seriously, which made it even more credible when they weren't really sure whether they should even do anything with it. But if she's going to substantiate that and she's going against her own father, then it's time to take the whole Biden family crime syndicate down for the greater good of everybody. So all the former
and she said, I don't want to get the Secret Service involved, but where can we meet? And the person that was talking to him, their face was blurred, and well, I'd just like to clarify. You said this, and you said, and like she's like, okay, well, it was like a minute and a half. It was a recording. She's like, yes, I would like to pick up my materials, and like, yes, we have the diary, and we have, okay, there was also a bag. Yes, that bag is mine also. When can we meet? And yeah, I mean, once again, it is what it is. It's beyond creepy. All of the stuff that Sound of Freedom is about. Look at the Bidens. I mean, by the way, do we have an update on the Obama story with the dead body out there? Have we been able to get some information there? I mean,
there is, yeah,
piling up for the worst people around. It seems like they're all starting to get exposed at the right time. I'm finally feeling a little bit of hope. I've been, slightly black-pilled. You can't be awake without, feeling like it's inevitable and pointless to even waste our time and energy on this. But it's like, I think breaking the dam on the Bidens is a great way. The water is starting. We've plugged up what we can, but the water's still coming through. And it's like, I feel like just throwing my hands up and letting the water burst down from the dam and blow out the city behind me as I raise my hands, like in Shawshank Redemption, where Tim Robbins takes off his shirt and just stands there in the rain when he crawls out of the river of shit, escaping his false imprisonment. Just like, let the dam burst. I'm here for it. So anyway, yeah, walk us through the nuts and bolts of this, Blake, with the testimony, because the Democrats, it's hilarious that they're even saying, I don't know, they're just talking about the weather. I'm like, good Lord. It's like Adam Schiff saying, I don't know what's going on with these false accusations. It's like they have totally run out of things to say, and they have painted themselves in a corner now. It is hilarious to watch these Democrats. Hilarious.
Yep, and they've done it all to themselves, so they got no one to blame. But they were their hope that they could just stay on offense forever, eventually find something on Trump, and shut that all down. Let's see, how do we get this switched? Okay, there we go. We got to get our faces in there. But so this was the big bombshell yesterday. So Devon Archer flips on the Biden crime family, tells Congress that the Burisma execs used to call D.C. to get the Ukrainian prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, fired. So Joe Biden got him fired. Yeah, money speaks. So Devon Archer flipped on the Biden crime family. A longtime friend, Seneca business partner, who was facing 1 year in prison on unrelated charges, appeared before the House Oversight Committee Monday. Said that there was Biden on 50 phone calls with business associates as vice president. So, the Biden brand helped Ukrainian natural gas company Burisma Holdings from going bankrupt. So, a lot of money to be thrown around. So,
what was the name of that video game? Was that Street Fighter, or am I thinking of Mortal Kombat? But like the character would make they'd like aim at the other person. They go, Victor Shuriken, Shuriken. Like when they make that noise, when they would.
Oh, that's Street Fighter.
Yeah, so that's what that guy's name reminds me of.
Yeah, it's like Ryu or something. I don't. No, but right, but certainly a classic game. Two of them actually. But Ukrainian prosecutor General Viktor Shokin was investigating Burisma and its CEO Zlochevsky for corruption, and several homes and vehicles belonging to the oligarch were seized. But a month later, that prosecutor was fired because Joe Biden threatened to withhold $1 billion from Ukraine.
Do you happen to have that video pulled up? Once again, it's
I sure do. Joe Biden publicly
beautiful.
bragged. Yeah, I wonder how many times this is played on MSNBC or CNN or regular NBC or any of the regular news channels.
I feel bad for the people that think they're watching news. I feel bad for the people that ideologically align with the left. God knows why. Maybe they have a personal issue with a family member that's not straight and they feel like they face some stuff. So they just knee jerk decide to be that way, or they're just super all about abortion.
Also, the Bush-Cheney administration was so awful and evil that they could never be swayed by the Republicans, and they still had some sanity then. But then Obama came in and totally radicalized the party over the 8 years. But
yeah, I feel bad for the people. I'm sure there's some good-natured, well-meaning people that are otherwise intelligent and have some sort of discernment compass inside of their cranium. But if they're getting these people that think they're getting news when they turn on MSNBC or when they're watching CNN or even Fox, the people, like you said, you wonder how many people have never seen this. He's out there bragging about it. It reminds me of that Time magazine article. The dude in Wag the Dog, which, by the way, was referenced by a Russian intelligence official the other day in an interesting way, about this war just being drummed up to cause a distraction and to launder money. But the Hollywood producer, he's like, I want the credit. And De Niro's like, there will be no credit. This story will never be told. He's like, no, I know, not now, but when it's told, no, it will never be told. And then they have to take him out because he became untrustworthy to the cause, and he ended up floating in a 3-foot pond while paddleboarding. Similarly, but yeah, it's the Time magazine article that came out. How they fortified the election. Yes, it's all it's all election interference. It's all rigging. It's all election interference. All of it. Everything. They couldn't help themselves from bragging about it. So I mean, it's out there what's been done, but some of these people are just still watching their news, thinking it's news. I pray that these lost souls like Jim Gaffigan, who was on with Rogan, I don't know if you caught that, but he's taking a lot of heat because he's repeating false information just because he's watching news that isn't news. It's just CIA propaganda, and they're just lapping it up. They're like, a Hunter Biden prostitute after she got paid another $100 to do something gross. They are lapping it up. They just can't get enough of it, slobbering all over. Sorry, this is getting disgusting thinking about Biden. But yeah, I just let's watch this for the people that have never seen it.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time.
Yeah. So when
now after overthrowing Ukraine, we're in the middle of World War III over there as well. Everything the Bidens and Obamas touch turns to shit.
Yeah, it certainly has. And then when Trump starts digging in and asking about it, then they impeached him for it. But it's clearly obvious there is a connection here. So we know the Bidens were involved with, crooks, oligarchs in Ukraine. And then he put his son on the board. and they were willing to take money and compromise American interests.
Well, the Bidens are the crooks and oligarchs.
They basically took $1 billion of our tax money as the bribe, and they collected at least $5 million each, and then Hunter got, I don't know how much money on the board, like $80,000 a month. So it's disgusting. That's just one of their deals, and then it goes on. So there's a lot. It's like a big money laundering operation with Ukraine. They got a lot of secrets there. They're trying to hide from everybody.
Of course. And another story I meant to get to is that California bioweapons lab. I didn't put it on the stack, but that needs to be talked about because there were concerns about bioweapons labs in Ukraine. And that was one of the stated reasons why, that people are speculating why Vladimir Putin got involved to the extent he did about a year ago, because he didn't like what was happening across his border. And there are many people in the United States saying you need to attack the cartels down across the border in Mexico, and you need to put up a border because we don't like what's happening right over there across the border. So it's not ridiculous to assume that if your neighbor is doing something that you're really objectionable to, including, just like if Cuba had weapons aimed at us, right aimed at Florida, the Bay of Pigs, or anybody trying to stage an attack space, we might not be fans of it. And that's exactly what the United Nations was doing over there in Ukraine, inching ever closer in a threatening manner. Oh, I'm not punching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Have you ever had like a brother or a cousin or a neighbor or a friend in school? I'm not touching you. And they're like in your face and they will not leave you alone. You're like, eventually you got to slap them out of your space. You're like, I'm entitled to a little bit of leeway here, so it is a little wonky. But I wanted to address this. MJ Sedona saying she wonders why the GOP had Devon Archer testify behind closed doors and has thus far refused to release the transcript of the closed door testimony. Now, geez, if refused to release the information, that should be Kevin McCarthy's fucking middle name. He promised us to release the January 6th footage, and he hasn't. I'm calling for him to resign at this point. This is important. This on 100 levels. He's had how many months now? This is supposed to be a top priority. There were supposed to be poison pills put in there from Gates and the others that if he did not do that, then there would be repercussions and he could be recalled as speaker. I've called his office. They said they were going to call me back multiple times. I'm still waiting. They're stonewalling. We just found out that there's a police officer who claimed to be severely battered, and it turns out that there's footage of him totally fine. That never happened. So, I mean, a lot of things are being exposed all at once. But do you have any idea why the transcript hasn't been released, Blake? Why some of this is still under wraps? Do you think they're waiting to just drop a bigger anvil on, or do you think they're trying to cover up and cushion the blow? If you were a betting man and you had $20 to wager, what would you guess?
There's got to be some kind of legal reason, or maybe they didn't want that out for. I'm not sure why they didn't do it live, or what it was, what the real reasoning is. But we would like to see the transcript. I think it will come out. But I know that there's been some analysis done, and we do know what's happened. And I will talk about how Jonathan Turley responding to the Devon Archer testimony. This is shaping up to be one of the greatest corruption scandals in the history of Washington. Constitutional expert Turley reacted to the testimony before the House Oversight Committee. And so Devon Archer, Hunter Biden's longtime friend and business associate, appeared before the committee, did not disappoint. And here are the key takeaways from the testimony. So when Joe Biden was the VP of the United States, he joined Hunter Biden's dinners with his foreign business associates in person or by speakerphone over 20 times. And Devon Archer testified that the value of adding Hunter to Burisma's board was the brand, and confirmed that Joe Biden was the brand. And the 20 calls were to sell the brand. These guys aren't going to fork over a bunch of money unless they know that it's serious and they can hear Joe Biden's voice. So Devon Archer also admitted that Burisma would have gone out of business if the brand had not been attached to it. So that prosecutor would have destroyed Burisma, but they bribed the Bidens. They took the money and they gave $1 billion of our tax dollars away. So they would have been intimidated to mess with Burisma legally because Biden got involved. So in December 2015, so this is going back quite a while now, almost 8 years, Mykola Zlochevsky, the owner of Burisma, and another associate and executive placed constant pressure on Hunter to get help from D.C. regarding the Ukrainian prosecutor Shokin. Hunter Biden, along with these guys, called D.C. to discuss the matter. They stepped away to make the call, and it raises concerns that Hunter Biden was also in violation of the FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Joe Biden was also dialed into a dinner in Paris with a French energy company and in China with Jonathan Lee, CEO of BHR. Then VP Biden also had coffee with Lee in Beijing and wrote a letter of recommendation for college for Lee's daughter. Archer also confirmed that Joe Biden was referred to as my guy or the big guy. In 2014, Biden attended a business dinner with Hunter and his associates at Cafe Milano in D.C. with the Russian oligarch.
Is that place related to Alyssa Milano?
I doubt it.
Oh, okay.
But you never know. Maybe she was there. Well, she would definitely defend it no matter what. She would just say this is all a conspiracy theory. But he's saying this could be one of the greatest corruption scandals in the history of Washington, and that is saying a lot. This is a brief video. So here's Turley in his own words with Neil Cavuto.
No money has to go directly to the president. There's lots of ways to benefit the Biden family. But the one thing that we can't do is just walk away. We have to find out the full story here. I think this is shaping up to be one of the greatest corruption scandals in the history of Washington, and that is saying a lot.
Right. So,
and and I posted this as well. I'm not going to try to scroll back and find it. I probably said it more eloquently than I'm going to paraphrase it now. But that's great that that Biden, that this whole thing, it is a sinking ship, Blake. I mean, this is the scene where the Titanic, I guess if you believe the version of events where they hit some sort of an iceberg instead of having a controlled demolition to take out some of the key players who were standing in opposition to the Federal Reserve.
Was it an underwater UFO that took out the Titanic, Brian? Where are we going with this one?
Well, so we are past the stage in the movie where it's dark and a hole has been torn through the hull of the Titanic. And water is rushing in. People are drowning in the subterranean levels, toiling. The worker bees are glugging, kind of like Hunter Biden paying somebody a few $100s in a cheap hotel room. Sorry, that's disgusting. Anyway, but we are past the point in the movie where the Biden crime family has been exposed. This is taking in water. There is no hope for this. The captain has resigned himself to putting his hands at 10 and 2. He's going to hold on to that wheel and go down with the ship. So be it. But Biden is not the thing. Biden is the meat suit. He's a puppet. Doesn't know what day it is. He's been corrupt for decades. He's on his way out, literally, figuratively, all that jazz. This is about Obama and his handlers. This is about the New World Order government and the globalists. This is about the Marxists and the communists that want to destroy this country and bring it down. This is about the lying legacy media. This is about the censoring social media. This is about the indoctrinators that are pretending in wolf's clothing, calling themselves educators. This is about the Democrat Party. This is about all of it. So while we're locked in on Biden, that's cool and all, but my God, we're going to flick him away into prison, or he's going to take the easy way out, or they're going to martyr him. So, something is going to happen. He's going to get flicked off the screen real quick. When he is, we have to remember that Pelosi, Obama, the Democrat National Party, all of those places already listed, I'm not going to repeat myself, they are still going to keep doing all of this crap when Biden is gone. So I'm excited that the shit we've known for how many years now, Blake? Like, this has been no secret. We've been covering it for many years. But once he's removed by hook or by crook, it's going to still be there if we don't continue to take out the trash in all the other places where it's rotting inside of our country, inside of our government, and all across the globe.
Right. So it's a major issue with the party and the uniparty system, and hopefully this will be a good wake-up call for people. So start paying attention. I'm not holding my breath, but at least we could flush Biden. He's becoming a liability. So I'll just show this as a great thread here, or a little rundown timeline from Kanakawa the Great. VP Biden meeting with Hunter Biden's foreign business partners, providing them with the illusion of access. So you were saying, yeah, maybe they were talking about weather or what have you, but this is going back for a long time, that there's been these shady business. So it's like Biden got the power of VP, and then it went to his head, and then you have Hunter Biden, the degenerate crackhead, who's willing to make these deals. Like a man of honor would not have taken, like if it was Eisenhower, he wouldn't be taking $1 million bribes from Ukraine or Russia, whatever that was then. But yes, not Joe. So that's a problem. We can't have the executive branch compromised. But there's been a lot of meetings with Biden. And here's a lot of these the associates that he met with. So it's pretty much, well, they say dead to rights. You would think there's plenty of evidence to suggest that these are some of the people that he's been meeting with, and they've been benefiting financially. Pretty devastating.
It froze up on my side. You're back.
Okay, good. I don't know if I'm going to run this whole thing. I don't know if I should at all, but this is a great segment from Jesse Waters calling it out yesterday about Devon Archer just flipping on the Bidens. I will have to tweet that out. I didn't see it embedded in one of the articles I pulled up. We also have the Department of Justice. Now they're denying they're trying to jail Hunter Biden witness before the testimony, because that was one of the things they were reporting on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the news story is that it's a procedural thing where the court said that we want, it's time to do this, and it's pre-planned, a surrender, a jailing, it's a technical component that everybody knew was on the way. I don't know. I mean, we're parsing words, or they're trying desperately to pretend, they're going, let's get the orchestra out on deck right now. Play some calming music. Go. So I don't know if they're spinning all these stories into ways that are helpful, useful, accurate, or not, but it's a distinction without much of a difference. But yeah, it's at least how it was reported originally. It sure seemed like that gal Luft. Okay, well, you're going to be a whistleblower? Well, no, you can't break up with me. I break up with you. You can't fire me. I quit. I just fired you. I said I quit. So, I mean, there's a lot of that going on in the Obama-Biden administration. But this is Obama. All of this is Obama. Pulling the strings, everything that's crap right now. It's Obama and his handlers, Obama and his team, Obama and the other traitors that are all about ruining everything that they touch.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been a terrible administration. Yes, this is the extension. They got their power back for 2020 by putting this puppet in, but he is coming apart at the seams. As you say, it's like a Titanic. There's the hull has been smashed in. They're not going to be able to put this back together. Everybody, the rats leaving the sinking ship, maybe, although they're still trying to defend it, but I don't think they're going to be able to. There's a liability, this whole Biden family, and I don't know what they're going to do. Yes, it's it's like this classic meme from the what was that? The Naked Gun series. Yeah. Nothing to see here. Yeah. So yeah, they tried to obstruct this. They didn't want him speaking, and as a great point, Brian, they didn't want Gal Luft either. So they put him in jail, indicted him. They know they got the goods. They ignored Tony Bobolinsky. So it's a problem.
Dude has one of the most fun names. Okay, if who has a more fun name to say? Tony Bobolinsky or Vivek Ramaswamy? Who has a more fun name?
Vivek. I like the Vivek one, but they're both good.
Bobolinsky is pretty strong. Ramaswamy, Bobolinsky. These are cartoon names. These are awesome names.
Yeah, and they're both actually very serious characters. So
yeah,
very, very interesting.
Right.
So what else was I going to pull up? I've got the American Thinker. Yeah, on the impeachment of Joseph Biden. Under the Constitution, impeachment and removal from office is not a criminal proceeding. It is a fiduciary accounting for abuse of office. And in Joe Biden's case, it would be abuse of the office of president. His fault would be having been unfaithful to his trust as president. To assume his office, Biden promised the American people that he would faithfully execute the office of the president.
Oh, please. Oh, please. Right. With Mayorkas allowing everyone through the southern border, it is dereliction of fucking duty, Blake. This guy is a complete traitor. Sorry. Sorry.
Right. So that's exactly why he has he is just ruined the public trust. He has compromised the executive branch. He is selling things out to the highest bidder. He will, rescue the most corrupt elements, oligarchs, CEOs, whatever. If you pay him enough money.
Remember as well when President Trump pushed Fauci to say, "Hey, how can we quit? Do you have something that can get us back on our feet, that can open America back up and open the world back up?" We've been working on this mRNA, and it's safe and it's effective and okay. So Trump goes, all right, well, you're the expert, you're the highest paid figure in federal government, Fauci. Why don't you go ahead and let's fast track this? It's Operation Warp Speed. Bang, bang, bang. Look so fast. It's warp speed. Yeah. By the way, this is totally optional. And if you choose to take this is your free will and accord, your opportunity to make your decision what's best for you. By the way, there's hydroxychloroquine, there's ivermectin, there's all sorts of therapeutic options. This is President Trump. Compare and contrast that to getting kicked out of the military under Biden if you didn't take the jab, forcing this stuff inside of your body like Harvey Weinstein after meeting an agent who passes off a young starlet for a private conversation about a leading role in a new upcoming thriller. Yeah, trying to insert this inside of you, all creepy and slimy. That's what Biden did. Kick you out of the military, kick you out of government jobs. You can't be a nurse. You can't travel. We're going to out you. We're going to ostracize you. We're going to threaten jail. Everything that the Biden administration done, heavy-handed to force this inside of you. Like Joe Biden forcing himself into a shower with his daughter, allegedly. That's who they are. There's such a stark contrast between who Biden is and who Trump is. You can take a lot of you can put a lot of criticism on President Trump for some things, but he pushed for the number one expert in the country to ask, can we speed something up to help? Okay, great. It's your choice. Biden, the opposite. I want you in the shower. I'm going to find you in the shower. I'll wait till you're up late at night and I hear that water running. I'm going to open that door and go inside of your shower, just like I'm going to get inside of your bloodstream with this mRNA, or else. That's who Biden is. That's who Obama is. That's who these people are. So it's just a stark contrast. I just want to make sure we're crystal clear on. Could I get any grosser today with all these Biden shower analogies? Because it's grossing me out, but it's kind of funny as well.
Right. We have to move this to a late night show, right? Yeah. Behave yourself.
What was that one? Taxi Cab Confessionals?
Something like that. Oh, yeah. That was an old HBO show. I do remember that.
Yeah. Anyway.
But it's clear, Biden's been personally profiting off of their official authority, contrary to his duties as president. And given the facts already disclosed in the media, the burden to prove that he is innocent of these charges has now shifted to Joe Biden personally. Should he not provide evidence in his own defense, he should be impeached forthwith. That is the law. And I would agree. It's time. We can't, if any of this stuff is true, if 10% of it is true, he has to be impeached. Because you cannot have the most powerful person in the world compromised like that.
I do want to reference what Timothy Hanlon has to say here. I think Fauci might have played Trump. Well, look, Trump showed up as the outsider. Okay, I'm president. Who are my experts? This Fauci character has been Saint Fauci. He's had, can I do this?
Yeah.
I am Saint Fauci. So how about that for a little effect? That was awesome. That's almost exactly what I envisioned. But Saint Fauci's been around since he was giving people AIDS, allegedly, in the 1980s and creating that, allegedly. Right. He looked at the #1 officials who had been around the longest and said, you're the experts, let's go. Played by Fauci, he allowed Fauci to expose himself for who he is, who he works for, what he is, and what he isn't. Fauci exposed himself. He was in the position. It's like, well, I don't know. Brian exposed himself because, he called the fire department because the neighbor was there was smoke billowing out of their garage or something. He called the fire department, and the fire department came out and set more fires. Brian exposed himself. It's like, no, that's the fire department. That's the person that was supposed to be in charge, was supposed to be helpful, and they didn't do something right. It's not the person that made the phone call trying to help. Trump made the phone call. Hey, who are my health people? Fauci. All right, where's Fauci? Hey, I'm here. Okay, Fauci, can we get through this? Yeah, we can. All right, cool. Fauci, thanks. Like that's the fire department. You call the professionals. I don't know, the tax person, whoever you're calling to the mechanic. Oh, I can't believe Brian screwed that up so bad. He called the mechanic that caused a problem with his engine that made him stall on the freeway. It's like, you gave it to the expert.
He's literally our highest paid federal employee.
For a long time, yes.
That's his job, yeah. So he's got to put him out there, even though he didn't.
I just don't know that Fauci played Trump. I think Trump allowed Fauci to play himself. And we're all seeing it now.
All right, fair enough. Yes, time to. This is one thing I was a little dismayed to see with Rand Paul. I don't know if you saw this, Brian. It's from his tweet from DC Drano. Love Rand Paul, but this is pathetic. They impeached our guy twice. Hit them back even harder, or they'll just do it again. This fight has already started, and pacifism isn't going to win the day. Let's watch this 17-second clip.
Whose words were that? Those were Paul's words?
No, this was DC Drano's words talking about Rand Paul criticizing what he's about to say in this 17-second clip. Here we go.
It's not good for the republic to keep impeaching presidents and indicting presidents. Yeah. All of this stuff is destructive. The other side says, they're for preserving democracy. They're pitting everyone against each other, and they're destroying the fabric of our republic. So I think we have to be careful not to fall into the same trap. It's not good for the republic to keep it.
Yeah, we can't take the high ground on this. Is one thing I would also strongly disagree with Rand Paul about. These people are not playing by the rules. They're just open criminals, and they would absolutely throw us all in gulags to protect themselves. So it's time to
high ground. What kind of high ground do people think remains? This is the battle for your life and your death. This is the battle for your eternal freedom or your eternal servitude. There is no gray area. The reason I get a little more frustrated during these shows than I have, maybe over the past 12 years, I get a little feisty from time to time. Don't get me wrong. But if you haven't noticed, that a little bit of that has been escalated lately because they have escalated lately. The stuff that has happened over the past 3 years alone, it should be enough to, give you a JFK experience. Thank you, CIA, by the way. And I wasn't alive when that happened, but I took it personally. And all of this stuff is coming to a head because it's gone on for way too long, Blake. Way too long.
And Paul's a good guy, and he's appealing to reasonable people. But the thing is, most people don't even pay attention. And when you're talking about, there's a lot of good Democrats out there, but I can mention that to some good Democrats and say Rand Paul, and they're all going to go, oh, my God, Rand Paul, he's just an extremist. Oh, my God. They don't know what's going on. They don't pay attention. They get all their news from these awful legacy media outlets. And, they will cheer on our demise, march us off to dungeons, and throw away the key to protect themselves, and they'll think they won. So yeah, we can't play by the same rules here. We can't take the high ground on this. Impeachment has to happen, or this whole country is in danger. And if they got nothing to hate, they get to present all their evidence. So maybe they're innocent. So we'll find out. Well,
sure. Yeah. Everything's on the up and up.
But this has to go through. So this was a rare bad take from Rand Paul. But that's all I've got on that subject, and I've got the perfect transition segue to praise Rand Paul. Unless we have some any questions to address.
Well, there's our tie-in. There's our segue into this one, Blake. So Rand Paul, who Jocelyn says sold out many years ago, and Timothy saying he likes him, and nobody's 100%, but Rand Paul gets more things right than most people in federal government. Maybe you could give him that. Yes, he might be co-opted and controlled or blackmailed. Who knows? But he gets more right than a lot of people, most people in our federal government. So walk us through this, Blake. Do you agree or disagree that Rand Paul should pull back his criminal referral against Fauci?
I disagree. It's time to let it rip. So
let's go.
He says he was against the impeachment, but he's going to refer our top federal guy, medical guru, if you will, Fauci. And yes, there's been a lot of great explosive exchanges on Capitol Hill over the years, but it's time to really crack down. Now Rand Paul has filed a criminal referral to the Department of Justice, asserting that Fauci lied while under oath concerning the gain-of-function research in Wuhan being funded by Fauci's NIH. And Paul forwarded copies of the email exchanges that show Fauci confirming that he knew scientists in Wuhan University are known to have been working on gain-of-function experiments. And here is Rand Paul with a tweet talking about how this contradicts everything he said in a committee hearing, denying absolutely that they funded any gain-of-function, and it's a lie. That's why I sent an official criminal referral to the Department of Justice. We'll see if they actually do anything. I'm not holding my breath. But on a similar article, we've got Rand Paul saying that he has Fauci dead to rights. There's probably never been a government official caught more red-handed lying to us. So this is some more explosive stuff. So I like it, and we'll see what comes out of it. I don't know how long this clip is, but we've seen some of these exchanges, and I will tweet this stuff out. But what do you think, Brian? Do you agree or disagree?
Well, first off, I pulled up this Busta Rhymes woo-ha, got you all in check, because you said Wuhan, and it just reminded me, woo-ha, got you all in check. But I don't want to deal with the copyright thing.
And I'll run a quick part of
there may be.
Yeah.
Huh?
Go ahead. So I can run a part of this clip as well.
Yeah, go ahead. I just look. There is perhaps nobody on earth more culpable for more destruction than Fauci. I am so resolute in my loathing for this creature, this little tree-dwelling Keebler elf. I wasn't really even aware of his role in the 80s with AIDS. And his work and the things, all of this COVID protocol
and
the
remdesivir
and
the beagles with the sandflies biting the beak. Yeah, he's done some really fun, some horrible things.
Could you imagine just instead of beagles, it's people? Like, and it's just to what end are we doing this? Oh, okay. Well, we had to see what would happen. You know that these things were going to get eaten alive, right? This Fauci guy might be the biggest monster that's ever walked the earth, with the smallest stature, the biggest monster of the smallest stature who's ever slithered through the dark recesses and shadows of this planet.
Did you say a maniacal manlet?
That part.
All right. I just started that one. Maniacal manlet. All right, well, let's take a look at this real quick.
It was a crime to lie to Congress. Do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. You do not know what you are talking about.
Well, let's find out, but we'll see if they actually do anything with it under this particular administration. But Fauci needs to get his day in court, and that could be bad, or maybe just Nuremberg trials, because when all that stuff comes out and his cover-ups and who he's funding, how he's picking and choosing, and how he's had terrible policy, and with the way they demonize the ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, and pushed his remdesivir and all the other problems. Yeah, he's caused a lot of destruction.
Ivermectin. Yeah, I just everything about how all of this was handled was just vile, Blake. Just vile. There is never a cause to limit therapeutic options. There is never only one course of treatment, and there is nobody ever smart enough to play God. You have to leave this up to the individual doctors. And by putting this blanket COVID protocol into place and limiting what doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals were allowed to do to help people dying, including family members of mine. Fuck him and fuck that policy and fuck everything it stands for. Just all of it. And you know what? They're going to do it again because half of you idiots went along with it last time. So I don't know when next time is going to be, but it's coming. Are you ready?
Yeah, I don't know. Trying to warn you, and they censored us. So it's crazy.
Yeah, we were saying this stuff for years.
Yeah,
for years.
Censored their opposition and shut down Robert Malone, which is another story coming up. Teasing the segue here.
Oh, okay. Then I will just mention what Jocelyn added.
Yeah,
that Fauci tripled his income during COVID. Fauci's in on it, but is likely being protected by the powerful, corrupt three-letter agency heads. Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Okay. I got a lot to say, but it usually ends up just starting with an F, and you heard it a couple times already. Blake, I don't have it in me to be polite sometimes.
We've tried to be polite for a number of years, and it just you can't play nice with these people, I guess. So I don't know. But they've done some really awful things, and we were sick of having to continually call this out, and yet we're still in this predicament, and it's even worse. So anyway.
It reminds me what I was. Oh Jesus, is it not gonna? There we go. So this reminds me of a scene in Pulp Fiction, one of the greatest movies ever made. It's the wolf in Vincent and Jules. So the wolf is the fixer.
Oh, watch out for the language. Yes. Okay.
There's a little bit
in there. All right. Yeah.
But yes. So if your kids are watching, congratulations, you got smart kids.
Not safe for work.
NSFW. But so the wolf is the fixer. Vincent and Jules just shot a guy, and they're trying to get some help. The wolf says, "Jimmy, lead the way. Boys, get to work." Vincent goes, "A please would be nice." What? I said a please would be nice. Get it straight, gentlemen. I am not here to say please. I'm here to tell you what to do. And if self-preservation is an instinct that you possess, you'd better do it and do it quick. If my help's not appreciated, lots of luck, gentlemen. No, Mr. Wolf. No, Mr. Wolf. It ain't like that. Vincent, I don't mean any disrespect. I just don't like people barking orders at me. If I am curt with you, it's because time is a factor here. I think fast. I talk fast. I need you guys to act fast if you want to get out of this. So, pretty please, with sugar on top. Clean the fucking car. So, yes, right. Blake, I will drop a couple of choice words, but for all of the reasons that the wolf was explaining, I think fast, I talk fast, and if self-preservation is an instinct that you possess, I suggest you get to it. So I implore you to forgive some of my more
colorful language,
descriptive, colorful language from time to time, but time is of the essence, folks. Time is of the essence. So, all right, let's jump to the next story, sir. Now, we're old enough to remember when there were some cool stones in Georgia, man, and recently they were taken out. Actually, I'm very curious where they went. Are they still in a pile? Did somebody come and take them? Where were they taken? Who has them? Do we know any of that, Blake? I don't know the answer to any of that I just said.
I thought they bulldozed the rest of it, so I think it's gone, but I don't know if they should keep some of it in a museum somewhere, or several museums, depending on which language the stuff is written in and how much damage it had. I don't actually know.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I have no idea. So if anyone in the comments knows, or after the fact, please leave them in the comments. If you're watching on Rumble or YouTube after the fact. But yeah, so it had on these Georgia guidestones, some cryptic stuff. And it was talking about that the world's population must be kept under, what was it, 500,000?
500 million, yeah.
500 million?
Yeah, so they like kill off like
500 billion.
Yep.
Whatever the number was.
Is 500 million. So
okay. Yeah, well, there you go. 8 billion to 500 million.
To go.
And that's what this climate cult, it's the same type of crap.
Yeah.
It's like, carbon dioxide's bad. Quick, stop breathing. And they wrap a plastic bag over your head and you're like, okay, one less person breathing carbon dioxide. There's another one. It's like, what do you do? You guys are nut jobs. You are psychopaths. I don't know how people fall for this stuff, but anyway, on the Georgia Guidestones, it said, let's decrease the population. And there is speculation out there about this. So, Blake, what say you? Agree, disagree that the COVID jabs are for depopulation and the elites are engineering, or at least attempting to engineer, the end of us?
I think they are both tied together, and I will agree on that. I think they are trying to call the herd. So, yeah, they're trying to knock us down from 8 billion and then 500 million. So that's a lot of people. And some of them say they want to, take down over 90% of us. So it's pretty bad. But this actually goes into what I just mentioned. Robert Malone, who was, I guess he was at a White Coat Summit at a speech and came to this reluctant conclusion when somebody asked a crucial question about the COVID vaccines. Why would a government wish to advance this technology? And his reluctant conclusion is that the mRNA injections have been developed by the CIA to assist in a global depopulation program, which has existed in the United States since the 70s. So that's when did the Guidestones? I think they came around in about late 70s. I think they were built
80?
79, 81, somewhere around there. So that's when they mentioned that. And some of the stuff was, I can agree with
March,
to an extent.
Blake,
but...
that would be March 22, 1980 is at least on a preliminary search here.
Okay.
Georgia guys.
It's pretty
March
close.
22, 1980.
Yeah. So that's been going on there. Yeah, they probably started building them in 79 and finally got it done. But anyway, so that's a part of it. And then we can tie this in. There's a great article here by Mike Adams, Natural News. 12 undeniable signs that globalists are engineering the end of humanity. So it's no longer taboo to publicly talk about depopulation. Even many who once dismissed the concept as a conspiracy theory are now publicly acknowledging the reality that global efforts are underway to drastically reduce the human population on planet Earth. And the mainstream media talks about the climate lockdowns as a good thing to save the planet. Now more corporate media is openly calling for climate blackouts and lockdowns, rationing of air conditioning, banning electricity to cool homes and buildings during hot days. So their terrifying green agenda, as well as the push for people to eat bugs as a new source of protein. because of cow farts, or for there's too much nitrogen in the food, too much carbon dioxide and too much nitrogen. But I'll go into the 12 undeniable signs of a globalist engineered planetary genocide against the human race. Brian, just jump in and cut me off whenever. So
I do have one thing I was going to add.
Yeah.
Where'd it go? Yeah, before you get into the top 9, I did just want to add this. Number 1, thanks to Big Dave's Peanut 9.
Peanut, yes. Big Dave.
Whoop, hang on. Here we go. No, he just said, "Oh man, I just shot Marvin in the face." Yes, that was exactly the scene that precluded them going to see the wolf, because that all happened by accident. But Timothy Hanlon, once again, like these comments are very interesting, thought-provoking comments from Timothy, and I appreciate all of your input. I'm trying to scroll through them while Blake talks, and he's trying to scroll through them when I talk and whatnot. But like, you guys do provide such a rich tapestry, such an interesting context, and just multi-layered. But Timothy says, I think they, the cabal, fucked up and pushed too hard too soon. Now, like everything else, it backfires. Yeah. I mean, they thought they had it, and I took I don't know, what was it, Blake? I don't know if you even ever watched it, but maybe 10 minutes of grief from Anomaly when we had our sit down a little while back, and we talked about it. And I just said, I posited the question. I said, but some people say that President Trump, by working with Operation Warp Speed, it kind of messed up the plan. They were going to try to have things on lockdown for 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years,
forever. Yeah,
like this was going to be the
Hunger
thing.
Games.
It was all the. This was the time. Yeah, Hunger Games, banking is done, travel is done, food production, no more job, like everything everywhere at once. Once again, that's what you said. But did they screw up by pushing too soon, or did Trump have something to do with throwing a Trump card on the table and they're like, oh crap? I don't know. And I'm not saying that's necessarily my theory or something I believe, but by pushing Operation Warp Speed out, it really allowed the red states to have more confidence in opening back up. And it was little things like Major League Baseball and National Basketball Association, little pockets of freedom started popping up, and it was just trying to return from normalcy. I can't believe we lived through this thing, but we should never forget just how incredible it all was. This was the plan to dominate the earth. And somehow we avoided it. Do we credit Trump? Do we just say it was part of the process playing itself out? I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. But yeah, they definitely went for a full court press, and they were unable to do it, but they learned a lot, dude. That's the part. They learned way too much about what worked, and they're going to try to clear up the loose ends. They will try this again. It's just a matter of making sure that we've learned the appropriate lessons from this situation. So I don't know, Blake, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we've definitely, screwed up with their timeline and their plans. I mean, I think they probably wanted to have all this stuff locked down in like 2012, and then they pushed it on to, Agenda 2030. They like to take their time, because the longer that they can take, the less people know what's happening. But as there's pushback and they're being exposed, and that forces them to accelerate their agenda, and that also exposes what they're doing to wake up all the normal people. Once we get the masses on our side, we can get them, instead of being divided and conquered against each other, we can focus on the elites and what they're trying to do. And it seems like depopulation has been a big part of their agenda for 50 years, if not longer. It's an old thing. They used to talk about overpopulation 1,000 years ago. So now it's a lot bigger. So there's certainly a debate to be had about it, on whether things are sustainable and whether we do have too many people. But there's a right way and a wrong way of doing it, and it's a wrong way to try to lock everybody down and force them to take experimental vaccinations. So, but that's been part of the agenda. So let's get to this article. back to the article here. There's 12, undeniable signs of the globalist engineered planetary genocide against the human race. Mike Adams' words. So they are terraforming the planet through planetary scale atmospheric alterations. So they're trying to alter the chemistry of the planet to make it inhospitable by removing CO2, which we
Blake, quick question. I that just caused me to think of something I didn't have in the stack for today's show. But have you seen unverified? But I heard it. Now I'm trying to understand it. Is this true or not? Some of this, a significant percentage of this climate alarm. What are they calling it? Global boiling. I mean, it's just a far cry from the global freezing we were scared about in the 70s. But have you heard that the reason why these temperatures are higher is the location of where their data collection centers have been placed, that they've been located at asphalt runways at airports so that they would add 10, 20 degrees of extra cooking. So you're not getting real temperatures. You're getting fake elevated temperatures to cause extra chaos. I saw this. I'm not purporting it to be true, but I heard this. Have you heard this? To any of the listeners? Have you?
Yeah, I forget. And a lot of it was put forward. This British guy that was spoke out against this a lot. He was an advisor for Margaret Thatcher, science advisor. His name escapes me because I haven't talked about him in years. But he pointed that out. I actually saw him speak once in Las Vegas like 10 years ago, and he was mentioning that. So the most accurate way is to take the temperature of the Earth is to use satellites, I think. But the way that they have these sensors set up, they're in those spots, like you said, on a runway or something where things are going to be hotter. That way that they can show that things are, supposedly getting hotter. It's just fractions of a degree, which could be, perfectly natural. But of course, they want to blame it on humanity so that they can reduce our numbers or our carbon emissions or, put us on these the grid, if you will.
And those little bits of data then are extrapolated and put into working models, and then projections based on models, based on false information from the beginning. And then hyperbole sets in, and then to push agendas, things are escalated. Dreamer Ultra in the comments here, he says he's skeptical of that. I believe, he was referencing the anomaly conversation I had about, did Trump's warp speed help get us out of the quicksand, if you will. He says he's skeptical of that. Too many people were not abiding by their own lockdown protocols, and that made it obvious that it was a scam pretty quick. Yes, that's also true. I agree with that. He says warp speed was unnecessary, but certainly open to debate. Okay, in your opinion, it's unnecessary. But in my opinion, it's like when you hear all these stories, well, Fauci and his henchmen, they had this vaccine under locks. They had this they had developed this years ago, 6 months ago, 6 years ago. They had this ready to go because they knew exactly what. There was a reason why Bill Gates invested. He bought the stocks and then he sold the product. It's like, well, they had it all sitting there. They were kind of ready for it. COVID was a flu type thing. That's what COVID is. It's what a coronavirus is. It is a flu. So yes, they had something sitting there. And yes, they said, yeah, we got something I got something for that. I can fix that. Give me a chance, boss. You'll see. I'll show you. We got the thing here, right here. It's right in the back. I got the thing for you. Let me sell you the thing. And that's kind of what it was. Lord Christopher Monckton. Yes, that is the guy's name. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so he posted that exactly what you said is the way that they're strategically placing these weather sensors rather than.
And Jocelyn is adding that Bill Gates was saying years ago that he wanted to push vaccinations to lower population by 10 to 20%. Do you have a link for that or an exact quote or I don't remember that exact quote. I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know if it was like a TED talk or something, but I wouldn't be able to pull it up, but that's well known.
Yeah.
Plus he's putting, GMOs, killing the honeybees, adding things to the mosquitoes. Like he is buying up all this farmland. Like Bill Gates is one of the absolute worst, one of the demons who is pushing all this stuff. But getting back to the article,
point number 2.
We barely got through number 1.
I'll shut up and let you go through.
Okay, well, stop me anywhere. But all right, biometric. Number 2, the biometric inventory of the human race. That would be like reference to WorldCoin has begun, and all humans will be inventoried so that globalists can properly track their depopulation milestones. And I saw this huge line. I don't know if it was an African country. So they're going to promise like poor people, they'll give them this digital money, but then they got to, look at this orb so they can scan their irises. And that's a way of to track everybody digitally. It's pretty disturbing. Number 3, they've given up on educating young people to be prepared for a productive future. Yeah, notice that the government-run schools no longer teach anything resembling practical skills, independent thinking, or basic knowledge. There is no plan to deploy the younger generations to any productive activity whatsoever. I think George Carlin also pointed that out. They don't want you thinking critically, doing too much, realizing how bad you're getting screwed over. Number 4, the controlled demolition of energy infrastructure that drives human economies. So the planned takedown of energy infrastructure, taking down nuclear generators or what have you. It's going to cause energy problems and an economic collapse and food scarcity. And Brian, we've seen all those food facilities that have had mysterious fires. You got number 5, you got governments funding, developing, and deploying anti-human genetic bioweapons. And that goes into the mRNA vaccines, which I won't cover again. It's coordinated a global effort to destroy seed diversity to make crops unable to reproduce. Again, that's like Monsanto and Bill Gates, and yes, they're toxic crops, and that they force these farmers to use their stuff. That causes problem. Not also with the Roundup and the chemicals and the killing of the honeybees. You got number 7, rapid rollout of automation robots to replace workers, transport drivers. You've had some of these. Workers are going to be replaced soon in warehouses with robots. And then there's been problems with some of these trucking companies. Number 8, you've got a rise of AI systems to replace white collar workers. So that could be journalists or artists, coders, writers, and more. So that's going to cut in. There's a great documentary. I don't know if it's called The Future Doesn't Need Us. And it's where there's going to be too many people trying to get their UBIs, their universal basic income, with their iris scans and their world coins. And they're not going to be needed to work, and they'll just be slowly exterminated. CDC rolling recommendations for annual COVID injections until you die. And I got a follow-up story about that. You got geoengineering-driven global famine to unleash mass starvation. Number 11, you've got infertility chemicals being placed in the food supply, atrazine, glyphosate, hormone disruptors, and plus there's screwing up the kids, getting them transitioned or trans or what have you. Number 12, the last one, globalists preparing to initiate the end of debt-based economics that have driven cheap food and affordable growth of human populations. Cheap food, cheap energy, feeding us bugs, magical monetary theory. There's a lot of there's a lot of problems here. So it's good advice to take about preparing for what's coming next. And speaking of that, on a similar topic, you've got Dr. Meryl Nass talking about the World Health Organization's and a pandemic treaty to remove human rights sovereignty under the pretext of pandemic preparedness and biosecurity agendas. So I'll run a quick part of this clip here. Let her speak about this in her own words.
We're undergoing a soft coup, and the idea is to create a whole new set of laws and ignore the existing human rights laws and other laws under the pretext of pandemic preparedness and the biosecurity agenda. the WHO is developing through all its nations, but with the WHO Directorate and the United States in charge, a pandemic treaty and amendments to the existing international health regulations that will remove the human rights protections currently embedded in the IHRs, will enforce surveillance, censorship, get rid of freedom of speech, require governments to censor and only push a single narrative. Also, we will be subject, if they can make this work, to vaccines developed in 100 days, which the organization CEPI is planning to do.
So yeah, imagine, warp speed was bad enough because that could be very dangerous, and that might be one thing that you could criticize. Another thing to criticize Trump over is that these things take years to test. But I mean, she's talking about, it could be tested in 100 days, and people would probably still be lining up to get it. Maybe they get free French fries in New York, or get free Krispy Kreme donuts, or what have you, or they get a little pittance if they scan their irises to get some money. But they're going to get a lot of desperate people to take this stuff, and it could all be part of a depopulation agenda, of which they'll plead stupid about, but we know what they're actually doing. So,
well, remember that Kamala Harris just talked about depopulation, and then they tried to spin that to say she meant what'd she try to mean? Deforestation or deregulation or
there was a good one. I forget what it meant though.
Pollution and depopulation. She confused them.
Yeah, it was like
I don't know.
Freudian slip. I forget exactly what she meant.
She seems impaired almost every time I see her talking.
Oh, she probably is, yeah.
And we'll see with Biden if they get Kamala to step aside, then put Newsom in, and then Biden steps down and he slide Newsom in as president, then he tries to run for another term. We're going to see some interesting stuff. Probably Michelle Obama, maybe Michelle,
Big Mike,
maybe. I don't know exactly. We'll see. By the way, I want to make it clear to everybody out there listening to this show or watching it that you can visit CISA.gov/rumor control and CDC.gov/vaccines for countervailing views on medicine and votes. So make sure that you know that. Gun to my head, I must tell you those things so that you can have countervailing views on medicine and voting. CDC.gov/vaccines, because they will never steer you wrong.
Exactly.
Right. Did I do that?
It's all good. Yeah. Oh, I think that's great that we have people should have multiple points of view. So we're not trying to say anything, and we could get things wrong. So definitely check that out.
All right.
Let's start. It's ultimately up to the individual. So
absolutely. All right. This rolls into the next one. We're going to go a little faster.
Brian, wouldn't it be nice if the CD? No worries. I was just about to say, wouldn't it be cool if, like, the CDC or CISA, if they said, "Hey, for countervailing points of view, you should check out, the alternative media. You should check out the Agree to Disagree show. Hey, we could be wrong. This could be part of a globalist depopulation agenda. You should tune in to Brian and Blake and see what their view is."
Thank you, Blake. That is so freaking poignant. It is so poignant what you just said. It is so monumental.
There you go.
If we were to believe them, if they were to actually say, look, we might not be right, some of these things may actually be happening, check out some of these other shows, that would lend credence and credibility to their BS. It really would.
Oh, absolutely.
It really would.
Listen, now the conspiracy theorists have been on a good run for the last few years. They've gotten a lot of things right, and maybe they're right about this, so you should go check them out. I think that's fair.
Yeah, like 80-90% of things we're getting spot on, if not higher, if we're not higher. But anyway, I wanted to discuss this story. It's related, Blake.
Yeah.
Is there a Fauci, agree or disagree? There's a Fauci Ukraine-China connection with the shady California biolab. I don't know about Fauci in Ukraine, but I think the Chinese connection is pretty well established. You've heard of this story, right?
No, I think you mentioned that before the show. I have not heard anything about the California lab, or maybe I did and I just dismissed it, but I would be curious to know, because a lot of Fauci stuff, he was trying to do it overseas where it wouldn't be under scrutiny. But
yeah, well, let me, at the risk of putting this CIA company up here, known as NBC News, right. Here I'm just going to buzz through this to give you the update. The tagline says CDC detects coronavirus, HIV, hepatitis, and herpes at an unlicensed California lab. CDC found at least 20 potentially infectious agents at the warehouse in Fresno County. Blake and I being former residents of California. Federal authorities spent months investigating a warehouse in Fresno County, California that they suspect was home to an illegal licensed laboratory full of lab mice, medical waste, and hazardous materials. Fresno County Public Health Department has been evaluating and assessing the activities of an unlicensed laboratory. Really sounds like, this is my words now, really sounds like the accusations of the lax security in Wuhan, leading to the last pandemic, allegedly. This really reeks of the accusations of the Ukrainian bioweapons labs that were popping up and were deemed to be a threat. And now here it is in Fresno, back to the article. Assessing the activities of an unlicensed laboratory in Reedley. The health department's assistant director, Joe Prado, said in a statement Thursday, all of the biological agents were destroyed by July 7 following a legal abatement process by the agency. Destroyed, huh? Like taken to a wet market, huh? Like a janitor wanted to sell a bat, and you got diseased stuff, and maybe both of those stories, that it was potentially intentionally released from the Wuhan lab, or it escaped, or it was lax. You gave it to the janitor in a bag and he's like, I can sell this stuff, and then maybe he did sell it to the wet market, but it was the lax process that allowed it to get to that. So I'm curious as to all of this being air quote destroyed. Back to the article. The evaluation required coordination and collaboration with multiple federal and state agencies to determine and classify biological and chemical contents on site, in addition to assessing jurisdictional authority under this unique situation. So there's the picture of this dilapidated jalopy of a warehouse in Reedley, California. According to court documents, city officials inspected the location on March 3 for building violations, found various chemicals being stored. March 16, there was an inspection by county public health officials, allegedly turning up medical devices thought to have been developed on site, such as COVID and pregnancy tests. Certain rooms of the warehouse were found to contain several vessels of liquid in various apparatus, court documents said. Fresno County public health officials also observed blood, tissue, and other bodily fluid samples in serums and thousands of vials of unlabeled fluids and suspected biological material. Oh, Blake, I don't know. It's almost as if you have tens of thousands of military-aged Chinese flooding across our southern border intentionally because Obama/Biden/Mayorkas want this to happen. It's almost like we're being primed from an attack from within. I don't know. To continue the article, hundreds of mice at the warehouse were kept in inhumane conditions, court documents said. City took possessions of the animals, euthanizing 773 of them. Yeah, that's great. Oh, it's such an inhumane condition we found them in. Let's save them to kill them. Awesome. That's way better than keeping them, but I digress. And then more than 175 were found dead. CDC tested the substances, detecting at least 20 potentially infectious agents, including coronavirus, HIV, hepatitis, herpes, Prestige Biotech, that was the tenant, company registered in Nevada and unlicensed for business in California. City officials spoke with Xiao, who identified as the company president, blah, blah, blah. It says Prestige Biotech moved the assets belonging to a defunct company, Universal MedTech Inc., to the Reedley warehouse in Fresno after UMI went under. So anyway, you get the gist of it. Dig into that story a little bit more, but now we have an unlicensed, shady, sketchy, gross Chinese bioweapons lab in Northern California. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that's news to me. That sounds pretty disturbing, what's happening there. I don't know if I'm going to say Fauci was not related with that. I'll give him a pass, but he's certainly got things to explain on with North Carolina and Wuhan and probably Ukraine, and as well as, I don't remember where they were doing the beagle experiments. That might have been in North Africa or where. I can't remember where that was. Maybe that was California. No, there's certain things that they can't get away with in the United States. So I don't think that sounds a little too sloppy of an operations. But maybe if that was being run by the communist Chinese within California, that could be. So who knows what they were doing there? But I'll have to follow up on that. So crazy.
Yeah, it's a concerning story because if there's one, there could be others. All right, lightning round.
Yeah.
So many stories, such a little time. I'm assuming we have you for 10 more minutes, Blake?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, this is agree or disagree that we shouldn't have a problem with Chicago hiring non-U.S. citizens as law enforcement. Blake, what say you? Agree or disagree? We shouldn't have any problem with this.
Big disagree. That's freaking crazy. Shouldn't have.
Oh, that is so homophobic. I mean,
I have heard anything.
Racist or something. It's, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is coming out of Fox 32 or, everywhere. Mixed reaction after new Illinois law. Okay. Yeah, mixed. So this says police officers in Chicago and statewide have been required by federal law to be citizens of the United States. But with a sweep of his pen last week, Governor J.B. Pritzker, it sounds like J.B. Wentworth or like J.B. Weld, J.B. Pritzker. Anyway, he changed that as Illinois will now soon allow non-citizens who are eligible to become members of law enforcement upon completion of training. Non-citizens can kidnap, aka detain, Americans. Quote, the goal of the bill is to allow DACA and permanent residents that are already able to work in the country legally to apply to become police officers, said Democrat State Rep Barbara Hernandez Aurora. What's that mean? From Aurora? Who led the charge to get the legislation passed. There are currently more than 30,000 DACA recipients living and working in Illinois, while at the same time, unprecedented officer shortages nationwide. I wonder why there are unprecedented officer shortages nationwide. Could it be because the Democrat Party has demonized law enforcement under a fake guise of, checks notes, racism? So now you have flash mobs and crime sprawling across the country, growing and festering all over the place. You can't go a day without scrolling and seeing some store being looted, some car being attacked and set on fire, some violent act in the streets. Yes, there's always been violence. Yes, there's always been theft, but not like this. Not like this. Of course, there's a shortage of cops because you're not protecting them. You're not defending them. And as I've said, there have been plenty of instances of law enforcement misconduct, and you protect the people, the citizens, and you protect the cops from false accusations by having cameras, body cameras that you cannot turn off ever. Cannot be turned off. There's a black box in there. You head out for your shift, you put your thing on, it goes beep, beep, and it's on. And it's on all day. You cannot selectively, I don't know, the cameras weren't working like it's Epstein's jail cell. Bullshit, they work all the time. But if you're not going to defend the cops and you're gonna burn down Kenosha, this whole George Floyd. I'm not getting into the Floyd thing.
Please, no, we don't have 10 minutes to go down that rabbit hole and tie it all together. Not today. I got limited time. Lightning round, Brian. Lightning round.
So I can't go to China or any other country in the world being a non-citizen and become a police officer. And I think that's wrong for them to do it here, says Wilson, former Chicago mayoral candidate, Dr. Willie Wilson. So non-U.S. citizens, Chicago or Illinois is saying, yeah, that's cool that they could kidnap/detain us. What say you, Blake? Well, I mean,
it sounds terrifying. Well, yeah, I guess if they're just lawless criminals anyway, so now they're going to have to try to find people that aren't loyal to the Constitution that will be happy to go after American citizens and follow orders. So it's unclear how Americanized they are or whether they speak the language or what have you. There's a shortage of good people, and they don't want to become cops and have to deal with that, especially with all the corruption in Chicago. So now they're going to be recruiting the illegal immigrants or whatever. It's not good.
Non-citizens.
It's like non-citizens.
It's like Yeah, like I think the early reporting misconstrued, because illegal alien is not exactly the same as you're legally,
Right. Non-citizen.
You can work here temporarily, just a non-citizen. But yeah, that is the goal of some people, to destroy the local police forces and then say, wait a minute, we'll fix it federally. Now the federal stormtroopers will come in, and it's people that are outside the community who are policing that local community. No, never. We will never accept that. We will never allow the United Nations to police our country, or a federal agency to be our local police. Never, ever, 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 never, ever. Thank you very much. But that's just my thoughts on it. All right, next topic. All right, Blake, this is something that's bothered both you and I. Gonzalo Lira, do you agree or disagree that he deserves to be detained before seeking asylum?
Strongly disagree. I was really disturbed when they detained him. He got out on bail, and now he is fleeing to Hungary, where he's going to be requesting asylum. So I think that's pretty awesome. Let me see if I can pull up the story. He's got a great big thread that he came out. So he's been like gone for a while. We didn't know. He's like in a Ukrainian gulag. And so he finally emerged yesterday, because right now he's trying to get out of Ukraine and seek political asylum in Hungary. Either he'll cross the border and make it to safety, or he'll be disappeared by the Kyiv regime. And this is what's happened to me over the past 3 months. He's got a 25-part thread, but he was basically tortured to some extent while he was in the prison. And he knew...
Not okay.
Basically told that he was going to be put away for 5 to 8 years in a labor camp, which certainly would have been the end of him. So there's another article here. Activist Gonzalo Lira speaks out after his release in Ukraine as he seeks asylum.
Activist and journalist?
What's that?
Activist or journalist?
Both. He's an activist journalist. He's a Chilean national, and he's also American. And he's been in Ukraine, he's been in Kharkov, but he was apprehended. I think he was kind of he's been speaking out against, the war, and calling out the corrupt Zelensky regime, which was very damaging. Apparently, he was also pissed off Victoria Nuland. Not without getting into all of this. No doubt other EU countries will comply like sheep, returning me to serve 5 to 8 years in a prison camp. Regardless of the fact that Kyiv arrested and imprisoned me for his YouTube videos for free speech. He said the U.S. State Department will return me too. He says Victoria Nuland hates my guts, so he's told. So he's hoping Hungary will go. And here he is. He's making his final video before he runs for the borders. So I do wish him well. He deserves journalistic protection. He's been one of my favorite people to follow, getting information on Ukraine, what's really going on. And it's been damaging to the administration, and they want to silence him. So they were okay.
And all of that heavy-handed stuff from Zelensky, banning political opposition, banning television news, banning reporting, all of this stuff. It's the worst. It's the worst. And there's quotes out there that if the U.S. stopped funding this Ukrainian nonsense, the war would stop immediately. This would be over immediately. It's the U.S. and Nuland and Obama, Biden, same thing, pushing this, that's causing all these problems. So all of the restrictions that have happened in Ukraine, but where one journalist goes, we all go. So I fingers crossed. Let's keep watching this story, Blake, and looking for updates. Next subject here, Elon Musk. Has he been exposed? Agree or disagree? He's just a Judas goat for the globalists.
Well, unfortunately, we won't have time to run the video. Or maybe, Brian, maybe you want to play the video after I'm gone, because I got about 3 or 4 minutes left. It's about a 5-minute video. Maybe we could start.
All right, do you have a thought on it? That's one you sent in the private. Sorry, I talked over you there.
No worries.
That's one you sent in the private chat for me to pull up?
Yeah, I sure did.
All right, well then let me get to that. Do you have a comment on it, and then we'll get to Pee Wee real quick?
It was sent to me on Facebook, because Brian, we were talking about this last week, and the danger. And this is an article I have. Elon Musk rebranding Twitter as X, wants it to turn into an everything app similar to WeChat of China, and that's his revolutionary social media platform going beyond. But is it a trap? And I was very dismayed, because our colleague, Dr. Brooks Agnew, was just suspended off of Twitter permanently, I guess. And he is really a nice guy, didn't do anything bad. So there's a lot of heavy-handed censorship that's still happening there. So we thought that we had gotten rid of it, and it's still persisting. And there's a video that was sent to me by Matt on Facebook. Let's see, here it is right here, but it's on BitChute. I think it's an old video from InfoWars a few months ago. I think it came out in May, but showing 10 things you didn't know about Elon Musk and whether he's compromised or not. I mean, I want to like him, but I'm definitely apprehensive about giving him that much power, especially if he's continuing to censor people. I don't want to give all kinds of financial data over. I don't want the Everything app unless I'm completely convinced that he can be trusted. So going into the old Judas goat thing, it's a trained goat used in general animal herding. So they lead the sheep into the slaughterhouse while their own life is spared. So that's why I brought that up. You will have to play that video after I depart, because it is very interesting. And since we're talking about it, and since your internet is better, but I don't have much time. So I guess all I have left before we get to that is just maybe a final word on Wee Herman. There you go, Brian.
Let's go. Here, it's time for Blake's Takes. Take it away.
Okay, well, let's go. Yes, it's a sad day. I didn't know he was that old. I guess maybe we're getting old, Brian, because he was certainly a fixture in my house. One of my favorite shows as a kid. Watched the Saturday morning cartoons, and then his show was on, I don't know, like 10 or 11, kind of rounded it up. An adult show, but it was for kids. So it was a really great, really creative character. This is a great tweet, all around amazing entertainer. His charm, his hilarity, bring a smile to my face. R.I.P. Paul Rubens, dead at 70 years old. Yeah, and Brian, I'll just tell a very quick story, because I used to watch that show, and he came out with the movie Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And I dragged my mom along to go see it, and she thought it was like, oh God, when kids try to drag their parents to some stupid kids movie, and they're like, I don't want to go see it. Finally begged and begged. She agreed. We went. We saw the Big Adventure, and as it turns out, my mom ended up just loving the movie so much. She has kind of one of these like laughs that's kind of annoying, and she laughed so loudly throughout the entire movie that it was like embarrassing. I was like, Mom, just settle down. But it was actually that good. It was that well written. It is one of the classic comedies. So yes, he will be missed. That was a huge deal for a time there in the 80s. So yes, R.I.P. to Wee Herman, Paul Rubens, at age 70.
He was in that movie Blow with what's his face, right?
Yeah, he plays the cameo. He plays like one of the drug dealers, Derek or something. Yeah,
that was a good role.
Yeah, he played.
He was in a couple of things that were pretty neat.
Yeah, but definitely.
I remember watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure when I was like 20 at my grandma's place, and I laughed my ass off from front to back. I was surprised that I thought it was that funny all those years later. How did Pee-wee get 70 years old? That is like just astonishing to try to fathom. That my brain cannot speak that sentence without having some sort of cognitive dissonance. But anyway, Blake, I know you got to run. Yeah. And Kenneth B says, hey, John B. Yeah, Tool has a song called Jambi, Jambi. So Blake, you can follow Blake on Twitter. He's at TV's Blake Walley. You can check out thenextlevelnews.com, or you can go to the basement at the Alamo, where there's a nice display of all of his journalistic works. The basement at the Alamo.
Thanks, everybody. See you Thursday. All right, peace. Thanks, Brian. Carry us out.
Later. Did he even catch the basement at the Alamo reference? I don't know. That should have been a bigger chuckle there. I digress. Okay, so here's the article. Let's go back to Elon. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you. So here's this article. Oh, got to share the page. Yep. Here we go. Too many things happening on my computer at once. All right. No, Elon Musk, rat exposed. Can you hear this? Okay, so here, all right. So that's where this is on BitChute. All right, there we go. So this is what Blake was referencing with Elon Musk. I'm not pro Elon. I'm not anti Elon. He makes me laugh. He makes some good points. There's also some concerning stuff. So let's see what Blake wanted us to see.
Pop culture has touted Elon Musk as some sort of eccentric heavyweight genius with humble beginnings. But this is demonstrably false. Elon Musk was born in South Africa, where he claims he grew up extremely poor. But his family owned an emerald mine. As a teenager, Elon would trade emeralds for cash in New York City, and his father bragged how they had so much money we couldn't even close our safe. Musk claims to have had about $100,000 of student loan debt, but he received a full scholarship to the University of Pennsylvania, where he bought a 10-bedroom frat house with his friend Adeo Ressi and ran an illegal nightclub. The pop culture claim is that Elon has an IQ of 155. But this has never been tested, and after being accepted into Stanford for PhD studies, he dropped out after 2 days. After dropping out, Elon began his first business venture with his brother Kimball, Zip2, which was essentially a digital version of the Yellow Pages. The brothers received tens of thousands of dollars from their parents, and yet Elon denies this. An associate of Elon's father, Greg Curry, got involved to bring in investors, but Elon's code was no good, so they had to hire on professional coders to rewrite everything. Zip2 was then sold for $307 million to Compaq, who later shut it down without ever earning a profit. Elon made $22 million, bought a $1 million McLaren F1 supercar, which made mainstream news, before he totaled the uninsured vehicle. Musk then went on to create an online bank, X.com. He partnered with banking expert Harris Fricker, Edward Ho, and Christopher Payne. All three ended up leaving the company after accusing Elon of lying to the media about the quality of their product. Elon claims he founded PayPal. Before the company was named PayPal, it was known as Confinity. It was founded in 1998 by Peter Thiel and Max Levchin. After losing millions of dollars, Elon's X.com was bought by Confinity in a merger in 2000. All Musk contributed at Confinity was his own power struggle. He made himself CEO and pushed to change the name to X.com. The executive team successfully petitioned to fire Musk while he was away on vacation. Part of Musk's resignation agreement stipulated that all references to founders of the company will be removed from their website, allowing Elon to claim credit, which so far is all he has ever achieved.
All right, so we're a little bit into this. There's a lot of accusations in this. I don't know how much of this is verifiable. I don't know how much of this has been debunked, but it is interesting. I don't know. Elon must be joking. Yeah. Oh, they're saying Pee-wee got fast aggressive cancer after multiple jabs. Is that what happened? I've been hearing that story a lot. People I know are going through hell right now from that. But anyway, yeah, this is a I don't know if this is an expose or a hit piece, but let's break down the information inside of it. You know, what was said that's accurate and what was said that's verifiably false. Let's continue.
Peter Thiel then rebranded the company as PayPal, went public, and sold to eBay for $1.5 billion. Elon made $180 million from the deal. Tesla, SpaceX, and failed company SolarCity. Elon falsely claims to be the founder of Tesla. Tesla was founded in 2003 by Mark Tarpenning and Martin Eberhard, who developed the Tesla Roadster. When Tesla Motors began looking for venture capital, they approached Elon Musk, who had the fake credibility as PayPal's co-founder, that he be named chairman of the board. In emails, Musk was upset that the media was not giving him credit for Tesla Motors and went after Martin Eberhard, replacing him as CEO. He then forced Eberhard out of the company and rewrote the company's history to have himself listed as an original co.
Rewrote the history. Yeah, see, that's the problem with digital. It's a big problem, is rewriting history. If you don't have a printed book, you'll never know what things used to be. People that love redefining things, and once again, I'm not sure if what is being alleged in this is accurate or not. But yeah, I've been having conversations with people, and I've noticed that I pick up old dictionaries or old encyclopedias, and if you just look at basic stuff, man, oh man, have times changed in the definition in just 50 years, 100 years. But if you didn't have the printed word and all you had was a site that could just automatically update, or that central bank digital currency that instantly locks you out or instantly takes your numbers to zero or something along those lines, I mean, there's a definite worry about rewriting history. So I find that interesting. He rewrote history to include himself as one of the original creators, even though he wasn't. There's a lot of accusations here. I don't know once again, what's true and what's not, but Blake wanted me to play it, so let's play it and let's debate it. Let's learn from it or discuss it.
And the Tesla Roadster was promised the first Roadster off the assembly line, but Musk screwed him over on that as well and sent that car into space.
Whoa.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly.
So who is Elon Musk? Elon describes his father as being an evil, abusive man.
Oh.
His father, Errol Musk, and fathered a child with his stepdaughter, who was 42 years younger than him. This spoiled, narcissistic failure, son of accused pedophile, wants to put chips in everyone's brain intelligence.
Yeah, that part right there. I'm gonna have a hard pass on that, dog. No, I'm good.
His girlfriend is now bragging how this could all lead to a communist utopia.
Yep, nothing good about communism. I'll pass on that too.
And strangely enough, former Nazi NASA named Elon would conquer Mars in a 1952 novel, which is odd because NASA has partnered with Elon's SpaceX to work towards colonizing Mars.
That's pretty odd. I've heard that before.
Elon Musk, like everything else in today's modern society, is a fraud, a fake genius, just like fake philanthropist Bill Gates and his fake vaccines.
Oh, by the way, you got to visit CDC. Oh, hang on. What's that thing again? What's my caption? There you go. Wait, where'd it go? Where's it at? Where is it? Yeah, go to cdc.com/vaccines so you can get countervailing views from this video. God, I hate having to say all this stuff. Aren't we adults? Can't we just talk and we can have different opinions? Ugh.
To you by the news. Here's a pro tip for dealing with the mainstream media and all of pop culture. Assume it's a lie and research everything. For Infowars.com, this is Greg Reese.
Well, that's that. I was getting ready to mention that to Blake. I distinctly, vividly remember. Geez, I've caught some of Glenn Beck's stuff over the past few years. I think he does some good work. And I used to watch his show on Fox. I remember he always used to say, don't believe me, do your own research. I'm sure he still says that, but that's the way you get credibility. If the CDC said, hey, don't trust us, do your own research, that's the exact opposite. They just want people, yes, I will. Yeah, you told me to do something. I will do the thing. That's not science. That's not trustworthy. That's not reliable. That's really dangerous, really dangerous. Oh, but like they wouldn't have your best interest in mind. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. That's up to me to decide, not you, pal. So anyway, yeah, that's the information that Blake wanted us to see about Elon Musk. So there you have it, folks. Yeah, I mean, look, he's funny on Twitter. It doesn't mean I trust him. I like the Twitter. See, I've had a concern about Twitter that it's free now. Like it's an open place to talk again. Remember the good old days in the internet where things were just open and you could be whatever you were, and as long as you weren't committing a crime, you just continued doing it. I want to get back to that. So when Elon came in as the savior on the white horse buying Twitter, I wondered if it was all just going to be a ruse to see who would get back on there and start saying things that they didn't want you to hear, and then that would be later used against you, thinking you had an open opportunity to be, permission to speak freely. Yes. Blah, 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 blah. By the way, anything you say and do will be used against you in the court of public opinion, law, or hiring, or social credit score, or da, 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 da. So I've got reservations. I have a couple of reservations about Elon, but that was a pretty fascinating article. Did Blake say he was going to tweet that out? I just closed the article, so I can't tweet it out either. You know what? Here, let me copy this. Make sure. Wait, why can't I copy? There we go. Make sure you're following us on X. See, Elon is pretty enamored with that X, so he's changed the name. So follow us on X, the X Twitter, as Scott Adams said. Say at TV's Blake Walley. That's where you follow him on Twitter. TV's Blake Walley shared this on today's show. Today's episode. Yeah, I know. What's more fun than listening to me type? Episode of the Agree to Disagree show. What are your thoughts on Elon? Okay. So now if you go to @American_media_, you can see this video and respond to it. If you have comments to add, I would like to see them. Tag us, please. So on Rumble, The New American Media, on Truth, The New American Media, youtube.com/The New American Media. Good luck finding us on Facebook, Instagram, The New American Media. Follow us on all the places. So those are the stories I had in the books for today. I'll give it another minute here. If anyone has some stories, let me go back into the chat. Any stories that we didn't get to cover today that need to be on our radar? And no, Jocelyn, I haven't heard anything more about the 3 Marines that were found dead. Don't know where. Was it California? Was it Baja? Was it San Diego? How come he has less hair in the old picture? Because his new hair is fake. Look at LeBron James. Look at anyone that goes bald. And yeah. Elon is a World Economic Forum member. Is he a member? Yeah, he's either wearing a toupee or he's got plugs or something. I mean, if I needed that, I would rather look like this than that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just me. Elon Musk even there we go. Jocelyn, Elon Musk even claimed humans must merge with machines and governments must give everyone an income. Yeah, that's some weird stuff right there. Yeah, see, that's where you get into anybody big enough to give you everything you need is big enough to take away everything you have. I just let's stop that right away. I think we can agree most of our history is full of crap. Yeah. Like his hair. Elon, wherever he go, ego. Oh, okay. Wherever Elon go, ego. AI is trying to help. At least I'm trying to believe that. Who knows? I mean, but we are EI. We are AI. Allen Iverson. No, I mean, we're the ones that program this. And if you set it into autopilot, then I mean, it's just it's something uncontrollable. It's just you give it parameter. It's just I don't know. No. You got to be careful giving too much power and control away. Keep that local. It's like that abortion debate. You can be in favor of abortion or against abortion. I mean, I understand both perspectives, but this decision by the Supreme Court takes it closer to your local government. Once again, we were talking about we will never allow the United Nations to patrol our country. We will never allow a federalized police department to patrol our streets. You need residents of that community to participate in that community for something as important as kidnapping. That's what's happening when you're getting arrested. You're getting kidnapped. You need to hold the highest standards, and that needs to be local. And all the abortion ruling did was say, your local governments, your states can make those determinations. Not everybody wants to participate in this. And so as much as you want to allow it everywhere and champion it, and you know what, I'm going to I want to make a running tally, how many I can get in a year. Hooray for me. I'm so cool to do this. It's pretty grotesque. It's even if you do support it, it is ghoulish. Yeah, I mean, just look at the pictures. There's no nice way to talk about it, but yeah, you want that stuff local. What is this? I don't know what to think about Musk. Hard to hate on him for playing the system and getting paid. Kenneth only views Twitter on the shitter. Nice. Elon is participating in the New Zealand project, where billionaires in Silicon Valley are building an underground compound for upcoming cataclysmical event that will wipe out at least 50% of the population. Oh, that's awesome. Sam Bankman-Fried and brother is it Fried or Freed? I think I spelled it F-R-E-I-D. F-R-I-E-D is fried, but they're calling it Freed. Sam Bankman-Fried and brother Gabriel want to purchase an island for the same reason. How about no? I mean, where is the justice system? Well, when the justice system has been taken over by the Democrat Party, I mean, we've entered a strange place. Justice is supposed to be blind, like in in Justice for All, Lady Liberty with the scales of justice. You're supposed to be blindfolded, and you just apply things evenly, or else there is no justice. No justice, then yeah, things go wrong real quick. He had wavy hair, as in it's waving goodbye. Now wait a minute, Kenneth, is that I heard that joke from Norm Macdonald during the roast of Bob Saget, I believe. True or false? Did I get the reference? How about WW Free, WWF? Instead of WEF, WWF, World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment it is now. All right, cool. Thank you all for joining me today. I'm going to get going. So follow us in all the places. Tell your friends. We need boosted numbers on Rumble and our podcast on Spotify. So follow us, Twitter, Rumble, all that stuff. Anyway, special thanks to Blake and to all of you in the chat room that made today's episode so much fun. I love unpacking the news with you all the time. So thank you so much. And we will talk to you again soon. Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, to be continued. Love you.